A man was on the roof of the school, looking far ahead. Slowly, he turned around and threw himself down. Then, the scene goes back to 10 days ago. The man was a high school teacher named Hiraji. As usual, that morning, the teachers exercised for a while, then prepared themselves to teach in the classroom. Hiraji was seen carrying some large boxes, and suddenly his students nudged him. Hiraji was indeed a teacher who was often teased and roughed up by his students because he was a nerd and quiet teacher. But that morning, he would show his true self. Hiraji entered the 3A class, and he was the homeroom teacher in that class. Not long after, 3 naughty students entered the class. They're so chill even though they were late. And suddenly, one of the students kicked Hiraji. When the lesson started, unexpectedly, Hiraji said that from now on, all students will be held hostage, and until Hiraji's goal is achieved, the students can't leave the class. All the students were confused and some laughed, thinking that the teacher was just joking. They thought this was just a game because in 10 days, it was graduation day. So maybe their teacher wanted to play around. One of the naughty boys, Kai, felt that Hiraji was being silly. He wanted to go out, but it turned out the door was locked. Kai then shouted at Hiraji and asked him to open the door. But unexpectedly, Hiraji held Kai, then took a folding knife from his pocket. 2 of Kai's friends tried to attack Hiraji, but Hiraji fought them all off. This was the first time Hiraji fought his students. Then, Kai was locked on the floor and Hiraji's knife was only a few inches from Kai's face. Hiraji then opened his laptop and pressed the button on his watch. Suddenly, a large explosion occurred on the top floor. The explosion closed the way out of the building. The teachers and other students immediately evacuated themselves, but because Class 3L was at the very end of the building, and now the way out was blocked, they were the only students trapped in the school building. The only rooms that can still be accessed are their classroom, the art room, and the toilet. Hiraji said there are more bombs all over the school area, which are ready to explode at any time. The students immediately take out their cell phones, but Hiraji forbids it. Hiraji has now confiscated all students' cell phones. Suddenly, one student asked what the meaning of all this was. But then Hiraji asked the students back, who knows the reason Hiraji did this? One student answered, maybe it's because they often roughed Hiraji up and mocked him, that's why he took revenge. But Hiraji said that he wouldn't have gone this far if the reason was only that simple. Hiraji then went to an empty chair, making all the students immediately remember who used to sit there. A beautiful, high-achieving student named Reina. She is now dead because she ended her own life. Then, Kai said Reina's death had nothing to do with them. But Hiraji didn't think so, and he thought that one of the students in that class took part in Reina's death. And this time, Hiraji wants his students to answer why Reina died. If their answer is correct, Hiraji will release them, but if their answer is incorrect, then one of them will die. Hiraji will wait for their answer until 8 o'clock in the evening. The student's expression implied a protest, but Hiraji emphasized that he's serious. Then Hiraji said that the person in charge of answering why Reina died is Sakura, the cute girl sitting in the front row. Kai was annoyed and tried to break the window, but it turned out that the window had been replaced with thick, shatterproof glass by Hiraji. Then Hiraji left the class and went to the art room because he was the art teacher. Sakura chases Hiraji and protests, asking why she has to answer the questions. But Hiraji thinks that Sakura is the closest person to Reina. However, Sakura denies it because she once received a letter from Reina, which said that Reina doesn't want to be friends with Sakura. But Hiraji still wants Sakura to answer it. Returning to class, they can now only sit and wait. Some of them are scared, while some are trying to find a way out, banging on the window asking for help. Suddenly, Hiraji's voice comes from the speaker saying that from outside, this class can't be seen because the glass has been replaced. Hiraji has also installed a camera, so even though he is not in the classroom, he can know the situation there. If anyone dares to break the camera, Hiraji threatens to punish that student. Hiraji's phone rang. There's a call from another teacher asking about the situation of 3A class. But calmly, Hiraji said that now, Class 3A students are being held hostage. The scene moved to another place, showing 2 policemen were chasing a criminal. Suddenly, one of them was called and received news that some senior high school students were being held hostage. At school, a male student named Ren was calming his girlfriend, Suzune, from this scary situation and said if everything will be fine. Meanwhile, 3 students went to the toilet, and it turns out one of them managed to hide a tablet, and they were planning to call for help. But again, Hiraji's voice appeared on the speaker. Apparently, he could also see the situation in the toilet. He came and took the tablet. Apart from that, Hiraji covered the window in the toilet with an iron plate so that the students couldn't escape. While outside, the other teachers looked panicked and confused about what to do. Then the police came to confirm if it was true that there's a hostage in this school. The teachers were surprised how the police knew because they haven't reported it yet, but it was Hiraji himself who called the police. Hiraji turned on the speaker so the teachers and police outside could hear him. Then he suddenly blew up a warehouse near them, threatening that if the police or teachers acted rashly, he could kill the students whenever he wanted. In the class, the students discussed again, but they could only do one thing, that's to find the answer about the reasons why Rina ended her life. Meanwhile, the police asked for Hiraji's biodata. It turned out that Hiraji had only been teaching for 6 months at Kaiyo High School. According to the principal, Hiraji replaced a teacher who was on leave because of a death incident of a student named Rina, which happened 6 months ago. Then the students in class were talking about Hiraji, why he went this far for Rina. One of the students who likes making videos said that he once recorded Hiraji painting Rina. The students then said that Sakura was Reina's close friend, so maybe Sakura knows something. But Sakura didn't answer anything. But Sakura actually remembered how close she was to Rina when Rina was alive. The first time Sakura and Rina were close was when Sakura secretly recorded Rina receiving an award as a school athlete in the swimming field. Rina is a national athlete, and her achievements make Kaiyo High School proud. Sakura secretly often takes photos of Rina, and one day, Rina caught Sakura with dozens of photos of herself on the table. Sakura, who was caught, became embarrassed. She apologized and said that Rina is like a goddess to her. Sakura likes Rina like Otaku, who liked the anime character. Sakura's innocence made Rina laugh. They then exchanged telephone numbers, and that's how their closeness was formed. They often hung out together, and Rina even gave Sakura a handkerchief. Even when someone asked Rina to go home together, Rina refused and instead chose to go home with Sakura. One day on the school roof, Rina asks Sakura for her opinion, what kind of person she is. Sakura answered that Rina is like the center of the universe, tough and not affected by other people. While Sakura thought that she's a fickle person, even her classmates called her the slave. Rina just smiled and said that she wished she was that strong. The scene back to the class, when Kai suddenly said that Rina used drugs and the swimming club should be responsible for Rina's death, not them. Other students also agreed, but several students from the swimming club in that class did not accept it. On the other hand, the parents of the students were coming and asked for clarification about their child. Not only that, now the media and journalists started to come. The Central Police also came, and a commander named Toru also came there. He wanted to see for himself how the situation at the school was. Not long after, snipers and special forces started to enter the school building to save the hostage. Hiraji saw it all from the CCTV. And now in 15 minutes, it will be 8 p.m. Hiraji went into the classroom. Then he came to Sakura and asked what her answer was. A student suggests Sakura to talk about the drugs. Then Kai kicked a chair because he couldn't wait anymore since Sakura was still silent. Finally, Sakura said it. She said that Rina was caught using doping, so she ended her life. Hiraji asked if Sakura was sure about her answer, and if Sakura had seen Rina use drugs. Sakura was confused, then finally revised her answer. What actually happened was that Rina was bullied by all the students in her class because of her doping problem. It wasn't just her seat which was crossed out, but the news was also viral on social media. Rina clearly denied it, but she didn't have the courage to fight back. Since then, Rina was ignored by other students who thought she didn't exist. Then, a letter came from Rina to Sakura, saying she could no longer be friends with Sakura. This made Sakura slowly distanced from Rina, but it's not because of the letter. Sakura was more afraid of being bullied because she was still friends with Rina. Sakura's explanation made all students feel cornered. They think that Sakura blames them all. They thought that Sakura felt innocent and the other students were the ones who were guilty. Then they started to badmouth Reina. Then Sakura remembered that day on the school roof. Reina had said that if anyone speaks something bad about Sakura, Reina will fight them and scream to defend Sakura. That memory appeared, and when Kei said Reina deserved to die, Sakura stood up and kicked Kei until he fell. Sakura said that Kei doesn't know anything about Reina. Sakura shouted just because of invalid news, they immediately bullied Reina. Sakura then took out a letter from Reina. One letter was faded, indicating that Reina actually wrote it when she was crying. The tears implied a sign. Actually, Reina really wants to be friends with Sakura, and all the news is not true. Then, Sakura admitted that she was afraid of being bullied too, so she was avoiding Reina. Even though Reina asked for help from Sakura through the letter. So, Sakura said that it was her fault, and Reina died because of her. Hiraji said that there was some truth in that, but that wasn't the main cause of Reina's death. Then Hiraji said he knows the main cause because Reina once told him why she ended her life, and Hiraji said that's their job for the next 10 days to look for the main cause of Reina's death. Hiraji starts looking for one student to kill because Sakura's answer is incorrect. All students start to panic, but Hiraji doesn't care and even looks excited. He even blows up the roof of the classroom, making the students fall silent again. One of the students asks Hiraji to just kill Sakura. Moreover, Sakura had admitted her mistake, so deserved to die. The other students just kept quiet, as if they agreed. Hiraji asked if they really had the heart to let their friend die so they could live. Hiraji laughed and cursed at them. Hiraji says that they should face problems, instead of running away and graduating with bad traits. The alarm suddenly sounded and the troops have entered the classroom area. Hiraji called the police and said that he didn't like an intruder coming in. Hiraji slammed a student named Ren. He took a knife, then stuck it right in Ren's chest. The screams from students in the class were heard by the police, making the troops finally retreat. The students stared in disbelief that Hiraji had really killed Ren. Hiraji dragged Ren's body to the art room and told Sakura to bring a laptop in. In the art room, Sakura saw Rina's painting, which had been torn up. But behind it, there is another painting of Rina, and in this painting, she is smiling. Hiraji contacted the police again and said if they want the hostages to be released, every user of social media called Mind Voice must give 100 yen. The police checked the social media, which has 50 million users. It means that Hiraji is asking for a ransom of 5 billion yen. The next morning, the students look happy and smile while doing exercise, as if yesterday's incident didn't exist. It turns out it was an order from Hiraji. He forces them to keep smiling, even after the terrible incident they experienced yesterday. No one knows what it means and the reasons behind it. Meanwhile, the police are checking information about the student who was killed last night. His name is Ren, and Ren's parents are now asking for clarity about their child. Hiraji suddenly contacted the police again and said that the money collected from the main voice users, only 400,000 yen, far from the target of 5 billion. But the police think that Hiraji is acting too calmly, which means that Hiraji's goal is not ransom money. The scene back to class, and now the students are having breakfast. Then, Suzune, Ren's girlfriend, gets angry at Sakura because she thinks it's because of Sakura, Ren is now dead. On the other hand, the two boys are seen entering the art room. Hiraji suddenly comes out and catches them there. They are nervous and then they return to class. That morning, Hiraji starts his lesson, discussing Reina's death again. He says the news about Reina wearing doping has spread on social media called Mind Voice. Hiraji found an account that was constantly posting the news, and the account name was Urina GX. One post highlighted by Hiraji was a video that the account uploaded. It showed the person was in Reina's locker, holding a bottle of doping medicine. The video was cut, and then Reina was seen taking medicine in front of her locker. Of course, from the video, it looks like Rina is taking drugs, but Hiraji is saying that the video is a manipulation, which was deliberately made to slander Reina. The owner of the account is in 3rd grade at class, and the student's task today is to find out who the person is. Hiraji gave time until 8 p.m., and if they don't succeed, then one of them will die. The 2 police now go to the place where Hiraji used to teach before. The principal said there was indeed a case about Hiraji at their school. Hiraji used to date a teacher at this school, but there are rumors that Hiraji was so rude to his girlfriend, and she is now suffering from a mental disorder. Back in class, the 2 students who went to the art room this morning said they didn't see Ren's body in Hiraji's room. That means Ren might still be alive and Hiraji just pretended to kill him. Some of them thought Hiraji was just scaring them. The scene flashbacks to when Rina was still alive. She had experienced threats, like her shoes being dropped in the toilet. When Sakura appeared, Reina lied and said that she herself had been careless and dropped it. Then, when Reina came home, it seemed as if someone was following her. Even Reina once got her swimsuit cut off. The climax was when she was in her room, her window was thrown with stones. In the class, a student named Yusami saw Sakura holding a handkerchief and asked where she got it. Sakura said it was a gift from Reina. Yuzami looked annoyed, and she remembered at that time. Yuzami had given Reina the handkerchief. They took a photo and Yuzami uploaded it, while saying that if she uploaded a photo with Reina, her followers could increase. Reina looked sad when she heard Yuzami's reason for wanting to be friends because she just wanted to be popular. Yuzami met Hiraji in the toilet and said that actually, Hiraji already knows who owns the account. Besides, it's useless to make the student confess, because Reina is now dead. However, according to Hiraji, Yuzami was protecting the account owner. Then Yuzami left and said the important thing was that she was not the one who died tonight. But outside, Sakura and a student named Yuzuki heard Yuzami's words, and Yuzami immediately left them. Not long after, Kai and 2 students came in with their sticks and immediately attacked Hiraji. Meanwhile, 3 other students entered the art room to check whether Ren was still alive. The alarm suddenly sounded when they touched the doorknob, and Hiraji immediately came in. His head was bleeding after fighting Kai. Hiraji went mad, making the students scared. In another place, 2 policemen are visiting Hiraji's ex-girlfriend's house. The father greeted them, and they chatted. According to the father, Hiraji is a scary man. Fumika, the woman's name, is now suffering because of Hiraji. Time has passed and now it's almost 8 p.m. Kai couldn't wait anymore, so he started asking the students one by one and pushed his friend to get an answer. One student accused Kai, who was the most emotional, and he looked suspicious because he once said that Reina deserved to die. Kai was angry and hit his friend. Then, a female student said the video was recorded in the women's changing room, so it doesn't seem like a male student was the perpetrator. So, they also became suspicious of Yusami and Sakura, who might be the perpetrators. Then, Hiraji entered the classroom asking if the perpetrator had been found. All the students were silent, and Hiraji said that one of them should die. But suddenly, Hiraji's cell phone rang and Fumika's name was seen on the screen. Hiraji was shocked and then picked up the call, but he heard the police's voice who wanted to show Hiraji that an in-depth investigation was being carried out on the people closest to him. Suddenly, the students ambushed Hiraji, then took off his watch. Kai beats Hiraji many times, but unexpectedly Hiraji presses the button on his foot. Then the locker in the classroom explodes. Apparently, Hiraji already knew his watch would definitely be targeted, so he replaces it with a fake one and then puts the real one on his foot. Hiraji gets annoyed and tells the students to line up. He threatened that right above them, there's a bomb ready to explode. If the students mess around, they'll die. Kai actually challenged Hiraji because he thought Hiraji wouldn't dare to do it. Even Kai thought that Ren wasn't actually dead. Hiraji was annoyed because he was challenged by his student, so he said that if they moved one step further, they would die. Kai became even more emotional and was ready to move. But suddenly, Yuzuki interrupted. She shouted at her friends and asked the perpetrator to confess so that they could all be safe. So the others started shouting the same thing and asked the perpetrator to give up. In the corner, Sakura squeezes her handkerchief, and in the end, she admitted that she was the one who recorded the video. But Hiraji wanted confirmation, so he asked Sakura to tell him the password to the Mind Voice account, the password for the Urini GX account. But Sakura is silent and can't answer it. But suddenly, Usami said that Sakura is stupid. Then she said that she was the owner of the account. Usami then mentioned the password and it was true, the account was open. And now, all the students in the class couldn't believe that Usami could do it to Rina. But Usami actually blamed Sakura. It turns out that before Rina knew Sakura, Usami was close and often went home together with Rina. But since Sakura appeared, Usami felt neglected by Rina. That's the reason why Usami terrorized Rina until she was scared. Rina once begged Usami not to bother her anymore, but Usami said that she will stop if Rina's dead. However, Usami said that she was not the one who recorded the video. Usami just uploaded it because at that time, in her locker, there was a DVD containing that video. Then Sakura said, why didn't Usami tell her, if indeed she was the reason Usami terrorized Rina? Sakura said for whatever reason, she would stay away from Rina if that could prevent Rina from death. In fact, according to Hiraji, when Rina died, Usami didn't feel guilty. She instead blamed Sakura, and all this time Usami lived blaming other people and didn't want to listen to anyone. Usami doesn't like being lectured by Hiraji, but Hiraji says that he is the teacher and it is his duty to guide Usami. That's why today Hiraji is standing in front of his students. Hiraji asked Usami to imagine how painful it would be if someone cut her clothes, threw stones at her window, and also slandered her on social media. Hiraji explained that actually, Rina never hated Usami. Rina actually blamed herself. At that time, Rina once said that she rejected Usami without telling her why. But she should have explained it to her if she sincerely wanted to be friends with Usami. Hearing that, Usami sat down crying. Sakura gave her the handkerchief from Rina. Then, Sakura explained when she got this handkerchief. Rina once said that her best friend liked the picture on that handkerchief. So, Rina always thought of Usami as her best friend. Hiraji then said that tomorrow they will continue the lesson. One of them protested why they are still being held hostage. Hiraji answered because the person who recorded the video has not been found. Until the person is found, they will remain here. Kai and the other students follow Hiraji and ask if he really killed Ren. But Hiraji says that he is not as good as they think. Suddenly, Hiraji throws a piece of hand, because Ren has been cut and soaked in formalin so it doesn't smell. They are very scared and go back to the class. Then in his room, Hiraji watches a video of a woman, and she's Fumika, his ex-girlfriend. In the video, Fumika said about herself, as a teacher, she wants to do the best for her students. Maybe sometimes she needs to disagree with her students and teach them about being human. Suddenly, Hiraji got a call from the police again, and they asked how the students were doing. Hiraji then asked for 30 omajiri for the students. The request will be granted and sent by the central commander, Toru. After waiting, Toru entered the school building alone, and he met Hiraji downstairs. All their conversations were recorded on a listening device attached to Toru's suit, but it turned out that Toru himself had broken it, and the gun that Hiraji was carrying was also a toy gun. Shockingly, the two of them were friends, and Toru already knew about Hiraji's actions. Toru even said that he was just an amateur compared to Hiraji. They sat down to chat, and Hiraji took Toru's real gun. It turned out that Toru had come on purpose and took part in this investigation to help Hiraji. Before going home, Toru asked Hiraji to hit him so that he would be seen attacked by Hiraji. And without hesitating, Hiraji ran and hit Toru as hard as he could. This made the other police believe that Toru had tried to stop Hiraji, and Toru would not be suspected of being Hiraji's friend. The next morning was the third day the students were held hostage. Hiraji started the lesson by showing a video that Usami posted on Mind Voice. This video was not recorded by Usami, but the recorder is in this class. Then Hiraji suddenly held his cell phone and said this was a criminal matter, so it was the police's job to process it. It turned out that the conversation had been deliberately recorded and overheard by the police. He is a lieutenant named Gunji, who had been in charge of this case from the first day. Hiraji has now ordered Lieutenant Gunji to arrest the perpetrator of the video recording. Hiraji gave him until 8 p.m. if the perpetrator is not caught, so this time 5 students will be finished off. Gunji was forced to obey Hiraji's wishes and start discussing with other police. In the video, the perpetrator is seen wearing a swimming jacket, so there is a possibility that the perpetrator was a student from the swimming extracurricular in Class 3A. While in the class, the students who took part in the swimming extracurricular started to be suspected because of the jacket. But they denied it. The situation got worse when Suzune again blamed Yuzami. According to her, if Yuzami hadn't uploaded the video, they wouldn't have suffered like this. Yuzami didn't want to answer, and she left. Sakura chases Yuzami, but Yuzami asks her to leave and doesn't want pity. But Sakura wanted to know who the perpetrator is and the reason why that student hates Reina. Then, Yuzami said the perpetrator could have deliberately worn a swimming club's jacket, even though he or she didn't take part in the extracurricular. On the other hand, in the men's toilet, someone was seen holding his cell phone and posting something on Mind Voice about the police being asked to find the perpetrator of the recording. The post immediately became news within minutes, even though the information was only known to the police. Gunji started to think that a student had managed to get the cell phone, and the student told them about the situation in the school building. Gunji immediately sent a private message to the student and asked who he was. Then, the student answered that he managed to hide the cell phone in the toilet. Then, Gunji said that he needed the student's help. In Fumika's house, she was seen coming out of her room and accidentally saw the news on TV, so she was shocked when the photo of her ex-boyfriend appeared on the news. The scene back to Hiraji, who was watching the recording from the camera that he confiscated. One of Reina's friends from swimming extracurricular, Kakeru, had been beaten up by a student from another school because he thought Kakeru was Reina's boyfriend. That naughty boy liked Reina, and he didn't like it if another guy approached Reina. Because of that incident, Kakeru's leg was badly injured and he couldn't swim anymore. That day, Sakura came to visit Kakeru and thanked him for protecting Reina. Sakura hoped that Kakeru still wants to support Reina, but Kakeru feels that is impossible because he can no longer swim. But Sakura suggests Kakeru to become the manager of the swimming club. Back to the present, Sakura remembered Yusami's words about a student who was not from the swimming club. He came during the competition, and he was Kaido. Sakura remembered that Kaido was wearing a swimming club jacket. Then, Kakeru remembered at that time, he asked Kaido to help him when the competition was taking place and lent Kaido his jacket. Meanwhile, Gunji came to the place where the competition was being held and asked who were the people who came there. Suddenly, a message appeared from the student in Mind Voice. The student said that the whole class suspected Kaido. Gunji then found more details in the video. It can be seen that there is a yellowish stain on the jacket, which means that perhaps the perpetrator was eating or drinking something. Gunji also asked this student to ask the members of the swimming extracurricular team what food they eat on the competition day. It's almost 8:00 p.m. Hiraji entered the class and turned on the loudspeaker for his conversation with Gunji, and Hiraji asked who the culprit was. Gunji answered that there were 2 suspects, Kaido and Karen, but the key was the yellowish stain on the jacket, because the stain was caused by spilled tomato juice, and that day, Karen drank tomato juice while Kaido ate jelly. Suddenly, Karen denies that and says that day she ate jelly. Even this afternoon, Hiraji asked her about that. Gunji was trapped. It turns out that the person who sent the message to Gunji that Karen was drinking tomato juice was Hiraji himself. Plus, Hiraji has known from earlier that Gunji exchanged messages with a student whose cell phone is hidden in the toilet. It means Kaido drank the tomato juice. All students glanced at Kaido. He finally couldn't avoid it and finally admitted that he was the perpetrator. The scene showed when Kaido confessed his feelings for Reina. But unfortunately, Reina couldn't accept his love. Kaido had previously known that Reina had always liked Kakeru, but he didn't accept it because he felt Kakeru was lower than him. Then, on the street, someone came up to him and asked if Kaido wanted to teach Reina a lesson because she rejected him. That person asked Kaido to record her secretly and humiliate her. Kaido was instigated and he came to the locker room to take a bottle of medicine, which turned out to be a vitamin. He was hiding in another locker and filming Reina changing clothes, but there was a feeling of guilt in him. He stopped recording it, left the locker, and ran away. Kaido was surprised when the video was edited, even though the bottle he was holding at that time was just vitamin. But in the video, it changed into drugs. And also, he's not the one who kept the DVD in Usaini's locker. Hiraji then asked why Kaido didn't change the grudge against Reina into motivation. Hiraji then told them a story that once there was a teacher who failed to save the student who was involved in a fight with other schools. The student died, and the teacher has a grudge against the perpetrator. But the teacher has now become a police officer and has turned his revenge into motivation to save other people so they don't experience what his student experienced before. Then, Gunji is just silent. How did Hiraji know about his past? Hiraji continued that Kakeru was the same. He was beaten until he couldn't swim anymore. There must be a revenge, but now he is the manager of the swimming club. He changed his grudge to advance the swimming extracurricular. But Kaido, he failed to change his revenge into positive motivation. Hiraji said that Kaido is weak. Of course, Kaido didn't like it. He still thinks that Kakeru is weaker than him. Kaido pulls Kakeru's collar, but suddenly, Sakura interrupted and said that Kakeru isn't weak. Reina once told Sakura that because of her, Kakeru was injured. Kakeru made Reina have to fight harder for each competition, as if Kakeru's spirit was also in her. After that, Hiraji suddenly pointed a gun, because Gunji failed to guess the culprit, so today 5 students will die. Then, Kaido said it's his fault. Because of him, Reina is now dead, and Kaido is willing to be one of the 5 people. Now there are only 4 people left, said Hiraji. After that, Hiraji called the other 4 people, making them panic. Gunji heard their screams, then he desperately ran towards the school building where the students were taken hostage. Meanwhile, 5 students had been taken to the art room. Then, Gunji heard an explosion from the art room. Sakura saw the rubble caused by the explosion, and she saw body parts there. Outside, Gunji faces the CCTV and vows to catch Hiraji, so that crimes like this don't happen again. Then, in a room, Kakeru woke up and was confused while his 4 friends were still unconscious. He was even more confused when he saw that Ren was still alive. The other students woke up too and also felt the same thing. They were confused and afraid. Hiraji went back to class, and the lessons on the 4th day began. Now, a new fact has been revealed. There was someone who provoked Kaido to make the video. So, they need to find out who the provocator was. Hiraji asked the provocator to raise hand, and suddenly Kai raised his hand and confessed it. All students in the class didn't expect the perpetrator to be found out so quickly. Kai's close friend was angry and didn't think Kai would do it. However, Hiraji is sure that it was not Kai who manipulated the video, because high school students won't be able to edit videos like that. Hiraji asked Kai to say who was the editor of that video, but Kai just kept his mouth shut. He didn't want to say it. Because of that, Hiraji said if Kai doesn't reveal the truth until 8 p.m., 10 students will die. Meanwhile, the teachers and police are increasingly overwhelmed because the parents continue to urge them to ask for news from their children. Not long after, 2 kids came there. They introduced themselves and looked for their older brother, Kai. Their mother was sick and stayed at home, so she couldn't come there. Then, Toru got a call from Hiraji. Tori said that Gunji was out of this investigation because yesterday he failed to save the 5 students. Hiraji spoke while taking medicine. Then, Toru asked if he was okay. It seemed like Hiraji had problems with his health. The scene moved to Gunji. He's now in police station, and this time, he investigates another case. At that time, he was interrogating a man who worked at the bar due to licensing issues. It was said that the bar was backed up by a group called Balms. After interrogating that man, Gunji accidentally saw Fumika. There, Fumika came to ask for her cell phone back, but when she was about to go home, she heard something about Balms. It seemed like Fumika knew something about this group. Bombs was a criminal group. They were like a teenage version of the Yakuza, and some young people knew about their crimes. There was a video recording of Reina. She told Hiraji about this mischievous gang. Then the male student who recorded it now tells Sakura about this. It was Kai who saved Reina from the gang. Sakura then approaches Kai and thanks him for saving Reina, but Kai doesn't seem to care and he seems to be covering up the truth. The scene moved showing Kai's siblings. Two teachers took the children back to their home. Kai's mother was sick and Kai has two younger siblings. Kai's mother said that Kai once dreamed of becoming a dancer, but suddenly Kai's mother fell ill. So Kai was forced to work here and there to meet their daily needs. Finally, Kai buried his dream of becoming a dancer. In another place, Kai remembered something. At that time, Kai's friend, who's a dancer, asked if Kai is Reina's classmate. Kai's friend said there are lots of Reina's fans here. If Kai can bring Reina to meet them, Kai will get 200,000 yen and he can become a dancer again. Kai was forced to agree because he really needed money for his family. Then, Kai took Reina to a quiet place. But unexpectedly, they turned out to be members of the Bombs gang, and they tried to forcefully take Reina. Kai didn't know this would happen, so he immediately beat them all to save Reina. Back to the present time, Hiraji tried to talk to Kai. Hiraji is wondering if Kai is hiding something. But while they're talking, suddenly Hiraji looked very sick, and Kai was just silent looking at him. After that, Hiraji rested for a moment in his room. Then his cell phone rang, and it was from Fumika. Hiraji thought it was from the police again, so he ignored it. But when he checked the mailbox, there was a voice note coming in, and it was Fumika's voice. Fumika is wondering if Hiraji is doing this all for her. If so, Fumika asked Hiraji to stop and not make himself suffer. Meanwhile in class, Kai is being forced by his friends to say who manipulated Reina's video. But Kai remains silent. There is a commotion between them. Hiraji enters the class and ends their argument. However, Kai suddenly invites Hiraji to battle. If Hiraji wins, Kai will say everything. But if Kai wins, Hiraji has to free them all. Hiraji accepts the challenge and secretly calls Gunji. Then they start to fight. In the middle of the fight, Hiraji occasionally says that at that time, Kai invited Reina somewhere just to get money. Because of Kai, Reina was almost hurt. But Hiraji asked why did Kai end up saving her. Not only that, Hiraji confirmed to Kai that the person who manipulated Reina's video was a member of Bombs. At that time, the video was handed over to Bombs, and in return, Kai got money. Hiraji thought that Kai was jealous of Reina because she managed to achieve her dream of becoming a national athlete, while Kai's dream of becoming a dancer was destroyed. Kai finally admits it. It's true, he was jealous of Reina. When students his age are chasing their dream, Kai was forced to work for his family. Kai felt that life was unfair. But Hiraji asked Kai not to blame his family. Kai should blame himself for never sharing his sorrows and difficulties with others. Kai endured it all alone until he's trapped in hatred for Reina. Then, Kai screamed and said that everything's useless because no one will help him. After that, Kai's best friend suddenly approaches him. He felt like he wasn't considered a friend, even though he was willing to help, even if it wasn't with money. At least he would help Kai to look after his younger siblings. Then Hiraji said that he can't carry all his problems alone. Kai should ask for help if he feels he can't hold it anymore. But Hiraji wanted Kai to remember that he is the one who ruined Reina's life. So now for Reina, Kai has to tell the truth about the person who manipulated the video. But Kai is screaming. He said if he reveals it, his family will definitely be in danger. Because previously, Kai was threatened by this perpetrator not to tell the truth. Otherwise, his family will be in danger. Hiraji asked Kai to trust him, but Kai said how can he believe in a murderer? But Sakura suddenly said that Hiraji was not a murderer. Sakura secretly came to the art room, and it turned out that the students that Hiraji killed yesterday were still alive. They were safe in Hiraji's room. The person who edited the video was named Kishi, the leader of Bombs gang. Hiraji got up and took his cell phone and he talked to Gunji. Now, Gunji understands, and with this information, the police were able to raid the Bombs. Gunji and the other police came to Bombs base camp. It turned out that the man, who at that time was interrogated by Gunji, was the leader of Bombs. Gunji managed to paralyze everyone there. This news was immediately conveyed to Haraji. Then Haraji said to Kai that no one can threaten his family anymore. And now, all the students in the class are demanding an explanation from Haraji about what Sakura said before. Haraji said that he was going to explain everything, but suddenly Haraji collapsed and fainted. On the other hand, the news became more widespread. One of the narcissistic teachers, Takeki, became the news anchor at his own school. While Haraji was fainting, several students tried to break into Haraji's room to free 6 other students, who were thought to have been killed. Meanwhile, in the class, Yuzuki suddenly asked Kai how far is his relationship with Kishi. Kai answered that he only met Kishi a few times and they aren't close. Yuzuki looked worried while holding a necklace. Meanwhile, in the art room, they finally managed to break down the door. They also took their cell phones again, but they couldn't find their 6 friends. After that, they saw a door on the floor. They tried to open it, but it was locked tightly. But suddenly, a student named Aizawa appeared and said if they go any further, he will blow up this room. Everyone was confused as to why all of a sudden Aizawa was doing this. Suddenly, Aizawa was ambushed and beaten up. Other students tried to take off his watch. He was also told to open the door on the floor, and when it was opened, the 6 missing students were seen down there. Suzume came down there and met her boyfriend again. She also asked Ren to get out of there, but Ren didn't seem happy. The other students also came down and invited those 6 students to go up and out from there. But strangely, they looked silent as if they didn't want to get out of there. But in the end, they wanted to go upstairs to the art room. But it's clear there's something they're hiding. Then they started talking that actually, Haraji did all this for them. At that time, when the 5 of them had just woken up, Haraji said that his purpose in doing all this was to reveal Reina's murder. They were all confused. Haraji said that this case had to be revealed, because otherwise, the next victim might be one of them. One student said, why don't Haraji just report it to the police? But Haraji thought that the police couldn't identify who the murderer was. Haraji admits that he won't have much longer to live. That is why Haraji taught them the last lesson through Reina's death, so that they all learn about something important in their life. The students then remembered Haraji's struggle to make them realize it. Suddenly, Suzume asked Yuzuki about his boyfriend's name, and Suzume remembered that his name is Kishi. Because of that, Yuzuki looked panicked and suddenly ran away. She gripped her necklace tightly and remembered the first time she met him. At that time, Yuzuki really needed money and wanted to become a model. Kishi was there and said if Yuzuki wanted to be his girlfriend, he could help her. Then they started dating, and several students in class 3 knew about this. But it turned out that Yuzuki secretly hated Reina. One day, Kishi gave Yuzuki a necklace and said that she had to take care of this necklace. Back to the present, and all the students in the art room are now discussing. Some of them decided to stay, but there are some who want to just go home. Yuzuki went back to the class and saw Haraji still unconscious. Yuzuki wondered why everyone is obsessed with Reina. Yuzuki hates Reina. She said that she's sick of seeing her always full of motivation. But Sakura then asked if Yuzuki also has a motivation, that is to become a model. Yuzuki answered that she really wanted it, but she sacrificed a lot. Yuzuki went back to the art room and saw several students arguing because there are some who want to go home and some who want to stay. The situation is getting more and more chaotic until finally Kai screams. If they keep making noise, Kai will blow up this room so that no one can go home. Hiraji suddenly appears, still limping. Hiraji said Kai didn't need to do anything. And before deciding who wants to go home, Hiraji wanted them to find out information from Yuzuki first. Hiraji asks if Yuzuki is afraid of Kishi, and that her connection will be lost so she can't be a model anymore. Yuzuki is indeed really afraid of betraying Kishi. She struggled to become a model so far because of the help from Kishi and Bombs. All this time, she got a lot of money and popularity from them. Besides, she has nothing to do with that fake video, so Yuzuki is not guilty. Yuzuki pleased her friends to laugh at her. She said that her ways were dirty, but this was how she survived. Hiraji doesn't blame Yuzuki, because everyone struggles with ups and downs. If they look at it, it's a shame. But it's good, and there's nothing wrong with Yuzuki's way of living. Hearing that, Yuzuki's tears flowed freely. This was the first time Yuzuki felt appreciated. She took her necklace and broke it down. A memory card was stored in that necklace. Hiraji immediately turned on his laptop and saw a list, and it was a list of Balm's customers so that Balms would make fake videos for them. What was surprising was that one of the customers was a high school teacher from Kaiyo Senior High School. Hiraji immediately sent the file to the police. The news immediately spread on the internet that Reina's murderer was a teacher at her own school. Hiraji also uploaded the list to Mind Voice. He even recorded a video of himself and said that Reina's killer was a teacher. Takechi, the most narcissistic teacher, was invited again on a TV show and said it's impossible for a teacher to be a murderer. Meanwhile in the class, Hiraji is starting his lessons again. He is now allowing the students to take a shower and allowing them to use their cell phones again. He also took a group photo and uploaded it to Mind Voice. Many positive comments have appeared and now many people support Hiraji. They now know that Hiraji took his students hostage in order to uncover Reina's murder case. Even Hiraji is considered a hero now. Returning to the class. Now Hiraji calls the teachers and says one of them is the perpetrator who asked the Balms to make a fake video about Reina. And today, no later than 8 p.m., the perpetrator must turn himself in. Otherwise, the class will explode and the students will be killed. The students are now confused again. Hasn't their relationship with Hiraji improved? Hiraji then said he's using the students to uncover the truth. He's also confiscating their phones again. If the students don't want to die, they need to try to find out who the teacher is who made the fake video. They now started discussing, and finally, there were several teachers who might be the suspects. Two of them were the teacher and extracurricular swimming coach, Mr. Masaru, and the narcissistic teacher, Mr. Takechi. The students who took part in extracurricular swimming said that Mr. Masaru was a strict and disciplined coach. They then confirmed that Suzune took part in swimming extracurricular in first grade. So why doesn't she do it now? Maybe because there were rumors that she was busy dating, so Mr. Masaru expelled her. Suzune answered that Mr. Masaru definitely wanted to expel Reina too, because she didn't meet his expectations, so he made a fake video so that Reina would be expelled. Suzune got emotional remembering the past, when she first joined the swimming extracurricular activity. At that time, she trained very hard, and was even scolded because her abilities did not meet Mr. Masaru's expectations. But she continued to fight every training until late night in order to become a great athlete. Then she was picked up by her boyfriend, Ren. One day, Suzune came to practice, but immediately got scolded because yesterday she skipped. Mr. Masaru threw a lot of photos showing Suzune was dating Ren. Mr. Masaru said that their swimming club doesn't need people who just like dating. But Suzune explained that yesterday she skipped class because Ren took her to the hospital. But Mr. Masaru expelled Suzune from the swimming extracurricular. Those memories made Suzune hate Mr. in the toilet. She met a student named Yuki, who apparently managed to take her cell phone secretly. Then Suzune had an idea. She recorded herself saying that Reina's murderer was the extracurricular swimming teacher, Mr. Masaru. Yuki, who recorded it, looked shocked. Suzune asked Yuki to upload the video to Mind Voice so that they don't get killed. In his room, it turns out Hiraji saw all the incidents in the toilet with Sakura, who happened to take the dinner. On the other hand, Gunji and his partner were investigating a film studio because Hiraji used to work there. According to an actor there, Hiraji is an actor who also plays a monster in the film Kamen Rider. They also got important information that the owner of the film studio is Fumika's father. This means that it is possible that Fumika's father has something to do with Hiraji's action. The scene back to the class again. It is now almost 8 p.m. and Hiraji sees that the students are already discussing the murderer. Hiraji shows his cell phone. There is a recording of Suzune. This afternoon, she recorded it and said that Mr. Masaru is the murderer. Then, Suzune said that she's just expressing her opinion. Hiraji then said that because of Suzune's recording, Mr. Masaru was now being slandered by people. After that, Hiraji called the teachers again and asked the real perpetrator to surrender, but no teacher wants to admit it. Hiraji said it seems the students here have concluded that Mr. Masaru is the culprit. Hiraji invited Suzune to come closer and explain everything. Suzune came forward and started talking. Suzune asked Mr. Masaru confesses that he was the one who asked Abalms to manipulate Reina's video. If he didn't admit it, otherwise all students would die. Suzune thought that Mr. Masaru definitely suppressed Reina, just like he did to her before. Just because Suzune missed a day and because she went to the hospital, Mr. Masaru immediately expelled her. Even though Suzune's dream is to become a swimmer, she trained every day to be the best, but Mr. Masaru took away her dream. Suzune expressed her heart while crying. Masaru then said to Suzune that he also knew how hard she trained. Suzune was the student who struggled the most, but the day she went to the hospital, her mother called Masaru and told him to go to the hospital. According to the doctor, Suzune has a heart disease and heavy exercise will be dangerous for her life. If Masaru told her, Suzune will definitely be stubborn and keep practicing. So, at that time, Masaru was forced to expel Suzune for the sake of her life. Hiraji closed the laptop and asked Suzune if she still wanted to accuse Mr. Masaru. But Suzune argued that she didn't know this, but Suzune already made the video. Fortunately, the video hasn't been uploaded yet because Hiraji immediately confiscated the phone this afternoon. Suzune felt relieved. Here, suddenly Hiraji kicked Suzune. Hiraji was mad. The fact that Suzune recorded the video of the accusation and intended to spread it on the internet is still there. Suzune is not aware of what will happen if this video is really spread. Because of her words, an innocent man was almost humiliated. He and his family could all be hurt because of Suzune's carelessness, so she has to think before she acts. And also, she should be responsible for what she does. Hiraji warned Suzune not to forget this because what she did could ruin other people's lives. Hiraji turned on his laptop again and spoke to the teachers. It's a shame because the perpetrator didn't want to admit it, so according to the agreement, Hiraji will blow up the class. And suddenly, a loud bang was heard. The teachers immediately ran out towards the direction of the sound. However, it turned out that the class that exploded was Class 3B, Hiraji said through the loudspeaker. With this, it can be seen that the teachers let the students die and only think about themselves. On the other hand, comments on the internet are popping up, most of which are now supporting Hiraji. Meanwhile, Gunji managed to get information that Fumika's father recently bought a lot of explosives. While at home, Fumika's father was seen uploading a video in Mind Voice. And suddenly, Hiraji said that the real perpetrator is Mr. Takechi. Hiraji's statement made the netizens confused. Plus, there was CCTV footage showing a man and a female student entering a building. Not long after, only the man was seen coming out of the building and the student disappeared. There were many speculations. Their faces were not clear, but many thought that Reina and Takechi were the people in the video. Takeshi didn't accept this, so in television, he immediately stated that he was not the cause of Reina's death. While in class, in front of the students, Hiraji called Takechi. Hiraji said to Takechi that tonight, until 8 p.m., Takeshi must confess all her sins. After that, Hiraji played a video recording of the day when Reina died. Reina spoke to Hiraji that she will meet someone who has made her fake video. He is a teacher at this school. CCTV footage is shown, and when it was zoomed in, Reina's name was seen on the bag. Towards evening, Takeshi was called again by Hiraji, asking him to come to the school building alone. He did so, and in the room, there were only Hiraji and Takechi. Takechi kept denying and said that he was not the person in the video. Hiraji said that Takechi ever offered a scholarship to Reina to enter university. However, Reina refused it. Reina refused it not because she wasn't interested, but because she knew there were bad intentions behind it. Almost all students who got the scholarships in their first year at university dropped out because they couldn't compete with other students. Their lives became difficult, and they felt like they were poor people. It failed because Takechi didn't give the scholarship to the right students, while Takechi kept doing it because for every student he invited, he would get a lot of money. Takeshi even bribed Reina to join the scholarship, but Reina threatened that she would report this case to the education department. Suddenly, there's an incoming message in Hiraji's phone. When he opened it, it was a zoomed image and the resolution had been improved. And sure enough, it was Takeshi's face, but Takeshi still denied it. He said it's true that he asked the Balms to make a fake video of Reina taking doping, but suddenly Hiraji turned around and looked up. It turned out there was a camera there, and all their conversations were broadcast live on the Mind Voice. Millions of people watched Takeshi's confession that he was the one who ordered the fake video, and it was proof that Takeshi was guilty. Takeshi didn't accept being framed like this. He said that he wasn't wrong because he only gave scholarships to the students. It was their own fault if they can't follow the lessons at the university. So, Takeshi just needs to look for other students. Hiraji was angry and said that students are human, not something that he can use to get money. They are still young and don't know the right path. As teachers, they have to guide the students so that they don't walk on the wrong path so they won't fail in life. The police then came and arrested Takeshi, while Hiraji went back into the building. Meanwhile, the next day, Gunji came to Fumika's house. Gunji asked about Fumika's relationship with Takeshi. Then, Fumika said she met him during the teacher training. After that, he contacted Fumika and asked if there were any students who wanted to get a scholarship. Takeshi gave her bribes to force Fumika's students to take part in the scholarship. Of course, Fumika refused it. In the class, a student named Runa looked serious with a laptop. She was an IT expert and was investigating the authenticity of Reina's video with a man. Unexpectedly, she discovered a surprising fact. On the other hand, Gunji was interrogating Takeshi. Here, Gunji has new facts. He has a video of Fumika and a student walking together. This video was also edited to bring down Fumika's name. This is what makes Fumika have mental disorders, and this video was also made by Balms at Takeshi's request. Back to the class, Runa showed her friends a surprising discovery. The man they thought was Takeshi turned out to be Hiraji. So, was it actually Hiraji who killed Reina? All the students wondered. Suddenly, Hiraji came to the class, and the students shouted asking for an explanation of what really happened. Meanwhile, Gunji meets Toru and says he has investigated this case, and it turns out that Fumika's father was involved. But Fumika's father now was only an adoptive father, and Toru is Fumika's biological father. Toru conspired with Hiraji to help Fumika to catch Takeshi. But Toru is still guilty because he conspired with Hiraji. Not long after, the police from the head office appeared and immediately arrested Toru. Hiraji's case has now been taken over by the central police station. Returning to the class, all students are now confused about what to do after finding out that the man in the video is Hiraji. A student named Soma said that he was going to upload this fact to the Mind Voice. The situation immediately heated up. There were some students who agreed, but some of them didn't agree. Those who didn't agree felt that Hiraji was a teacher who risked his life for them all. It was seen that while he was holding them hostage, he always taught the value of life to the students. If this fact was uploaded, Hiraji would be a murder suspect. They investigated the details of the video again, and it turned out that there was another oddity. It was seen that the bag Rina was wearing was an extracurricular swimming bag, while when she came home from school, she had to wear the school bag. It means that the girl in the video wasn't Reina either. So this video is probably fake. They also contacted the local shop and asked if there was CCTV around there. It turns out there has never been CCTV in the area. They finally thought that this video was deliberately made by Hiraji to trap Takeshi. Takeshi had been using a fake video to bring down Reina. Hiraji wants revenge and wants to take down Takeshi with a manipulated video too. An eye for an eye, and a fake video for a fake video, that's Hiraji's goal. In the police station, the head office has now deployed a special team to free the students, but unexpectedly, Gunji also comes to the school building, and now he's facing Hiraji. Gunji says whatever Hiraji's intention, what he did was a mistake. So, Gunji has to arrest you. They fight, but in the end, Gunji is defeated. And now he is handcuffed in Hiraji's room. Back at the head office, they are now withdrawing their special troops because they know that Gunji is now being held hostage by Hiraji. Meanwhile, Fumika's adoptive father is seen uploaded a clearer version of the video, which shows that Hiraji is the man in that video. The public became confused, and suddenly they commented that Hiraji was a criminal and a murderer. Meanwhile, Hiraji is unconscious and being cared for by Sakura after fighting with Gunji. Then, Hiraji's cell phone rang. Sakura was about to take it, but Hiraji regained his consciousness. Fumika's father called him and said that he had uploaded a clearer version of the video. He thanked Hiraji for going this far for Fumika. After that, Hiraji returned to class, and he knows that the video showing him is currently viral. This is all part of his plan. Hiraji now tells everything. At first, Hiraji's girlfriend, Fumika, was slandered as if she was acting indecently with a student, and Takechi was the one who made that fake video. Due to the fake video, Fumika had a mental disorder. Then, to arrest Takechi, 6 months ago, Hiraji moved to Kaio High School. Here, Hiraji met Reina. When Reina confided in Hiraji that there was a fake video about her using drugs, Hiraji remembered Fumika's case. Reina said that because of the video, she wasn't herself anymore. Reina started hearing voices, and in other words, Reina had a mental disorder too. After that, Reina said that she would meet the perpetrator, Takechi. But the meeting never happened. That day, Reina was found dead. Hiraji said if only he had accompanied Reina that day, maybe she wouldn't have died. But Hiraji realized that maybe Reina's fate would not have changed because the video had broken her. Hiraji admitted that he suffered from cancer, and he didn't have much time left. But why did Reina die first? She's still young and still has a future. Hiraji regrets why he wasn't the one who died first. But Reina's death made Hiraji realize that as a teacher, he hadn't done anything. And for the past few days, Hiraji made the students scared. Hiraji really apologized, but the students have now changed and Hiraji is proud of them. Hiraji was grateful that they had allowed him to be their teacher. Hiraji now went back to his room, where Gunji is held there. Hiraji points a rifle and asks Gunji to come with him. Hiraji heads down the hall, but Sakura comes and tries to hold him back. She knew that Hiraji would definitely do something reckless, but suddenly, Hiraji blew up the roof, making Sakura's way blocked. Now, Hiraji and Gunji were on the roof of the school building. The police, teachers, and the media immediately highlighted them. Even now, the action was broadcast live on the Mind Voice. Hiraji laughed like crazy and fired his rifle. Then, suddenly, a shot hit him in the chest and he instantly collapsed. But not long after, he woke up again, and it turned out he was already wearing a bulletproof vest. Hiraji said that tomorrow, at 8 o'clock, he will go live on Mind Voice and tell all the truth that he has been struggling. At the same time, Sakura unexpectedly told her friends something that she had been keeping secret. She said that actually, she was the one who killed Reina. Of course, this shocked the whole class. On the day Reina died, Reina met Sakura. Sakura said she wanted to talk to her and invited her to the roof of the building. There, Sakura apologized for all this time ignoring Reina, because honestly she was afraid of being bullied by other students. But Reina had hallucinations as if Sakura had said negative things to her. It turned out that Reina had had a mental disorder. She always felt that there were voices bullying her. So she climbed onto the fence and threw herself down. Sakura ran to hold Reina's hand. At that time, Reina said softly that she's tired, she's in pain, and wants to find a way out. Unfortunately, Reina's hand fell off. Sakura saw her best friend fall and die. All the students in the class heard it and said that it wasn't Sakura's fault. Meanwhile, Hiraji also told Gunji everything about the reason why he was holding the students hostage and the purpose of all this. Gunji finally believes in Hiraji, and it was already 8 a.m. Hiraji returned to the roof and, as promised, he would reveal everything. It turned out he had prepared the camera and started the live broadcast. First, he uploaded a video. Previously, the video showed a man and a female student. This video was made by Hiraji on purpose to trap Takechi. Immediately, many negative comments appeared for Hiraji because he had cheated them. Hiraji laughs and says this is the reason for the hostage-taking. Initially, they considered Hiraji a villain, but in the middle netizens changed their minds and considered Hiraji a hero for exposing Takechi's crimes. But now they again consider Hiraji a criminal, so during these 10 days, they had changed their minds many times. Meanwhile, the students are now trying to free themselves by clearing the rubble. Hiraji is still going live and says that the one who killed Reina was actually the audience. The negative comments from the audience were like millions of knives that stabbed Reina's heart over and over again until she died. They bullied her because of one video that wasn't even necessarily true and made her decide to end her life. Instead of causing harm, shouldn't they use their mouths and hands to give happiness to others? Hiraji knows for many people watching this live, many of them will not care about his words. But among these millions, there is only one who is aware, and one day there will be 10 people, 100 people, and 1,000 people. It means Hiraji is not standing here in vain. Hiraji begged them to remember what he said. Meanwhile, the students finally managed to find a way out. Sakura was the first to come to Hiraji. She saw Hiraji slowly walk to the edge of the building and drop himself. Sakura immediately ran to reach Hiraji's hand. Hiraji hanging on Sakura's hand, the same incident that Sakura experienced with Reina. Sakura didn't want to repeat the same mistake and fought as hard as she could to hold Hiraji from falling. Kai appeared, followed by other students until finally they were able to save Hiraji. Hiraji asked if at that time Sakura let go of Reina's hand. Sakura answered that she didn't let go of Reina's hand because she wanted Reina to stay alive. Hiraji said that Sakura didn't kill Reina, instead Sakura tried to save her with her hands. So Sakura should stop blaming herself. While downstairs, it turned out that Fumika was there and had been watching Hiraji's actions. Then Takechi appeared and apologized for hurting Fumika. Gunji then comes on the roof and says that Hiraji has caused all this chaos and must be arrested. Hiraji is taken downstairs and Fumika meets Hiraji. Fumika thanks Hiraji for all his efforts. 3 years have passed and they are now reunited. They also remember Hiraji, who has now died a year after the hostage-taking action due to cancer he suffered. In the class, Sakura was alone as if talking to Hiraji. She said that at this time, things have not changed much. People are still busy with their own affairs, still commenting on this and that as they please. But one thing is certain, during those 10 days, she and all her classmates had the most precious youth. And Sakura hopes that one day, Hiraji's message will reach other people too. Elsewhere, someone typed a negative comment, holding his finger to post it. Then he deletes that message and the film is ended. Well, that's the whole storyline of the drama Hiraji Classroom. The message of the film is very strong and relatable to what is happening now. Most people easily make negative comments on social media, as if forgetting that these comments can hurt other people, even if it might take someone's life. Hopefully, we can be wiser in commenting on social media and can take lessons from this film.